We'll start off first talking about WebEx. And WebEx is a video conferencing feature and platform online that has been used by a lot of different professionals within the community. And it's a great way to interact and engage through webinars or even through general meetings. And WebEx is where we host our weekly webinars. So I'll take you through the process of how that works. So if you have already subscribed to our emails, you may have received the webinar links in your email directly. So for example, this is the email I have here, and you would have received a newsletter from the clinic. So this is a webinar that was held last week on May 1st on understanding scientific research. And essentially in the email directly, you would have received the link for WebEx as well as the link for YouTube live stream. Now, before I show you how to access WebEx through the email, I want to highlight that the same link is actually available on Dr. Kernew's website as well. So here is the main page of the website. It's drkernew.com, and on the website we actually also put the webinar links. So if you click at the top, you'll see several different tabs. So Dr. Kernew's blog, an About Us page, Patient Corner, etc. And we'll have a different video discussing all these different features on the website later on in the series as well. But for now, I wanted to highlight your attention to this tab here, Dr. Kearney's blog. And so if you click on that, I just got the page loading here. All right, so on the very top here, you will see the same sort of message. So we've got, it was posted on May 1st, a webinar on understanding research, and you will see the link right over here. This is a link for the WebEx video conferencing. So you can also access the same link here and as well as the YouTube link down below. So if you are not already subscribed to the email and don't receive the newsletters, this is the alternative way to do so. And while we're here, you might also be wondering, well, how do I receive these newsletters so I can get that link emailed to me directly instead? And to do so, you can simply go on the bottom of Dr. Kernew's website, and you'll see this tab at the bottom here. It says receive our monthly newsletters, and you can simply enter in your email address and hit subscribe, and you should be receiving those newsletters in your email as they come out. So once you have access to this link, either through your email or through the website, if you want to join the webinars through WebEx, simply all you have to do is click this link here. Now, you'll notice that there are two options. You can either join through WebEx or through YouTube Live. And as we go through both of these features, you'll kind of start to notice the difference between the two. But just to highlight it here, WebEx is a video conferencing feature, which means that if you join through WebEx, you'll actually be able to engage in the discussion, meaning you'll be able to speak and sort of talk back to Dr. Kernew and whoever the workshop leader is, as well as ask any of your questions and take part in the conversation. So it's a very two-way communication type of platform. On the other hand, you'll see shortly that when we access the webinars through the YouTube Live, you're really only communicating one way. So you're really only able to sort of ask questions in the chat feature, but the workshop leaders and Dr. Kearney won't be able to hear you. They'll only be able to see your questions pop up on the side. But hang tight, we'll go over that in just a second. So if you want to take part in sort of a two-way communication, simply click the link for the WebEx and you'll see this page pop up here. So it'll say starting Cisco WebEx meetings, Friday nights with Dr. Kernew with the date and the time. And in order to access WebEx now, if you don't already have WebEx downloaded on your laptop, you can hit this button here. It says don't have the desktop app, download it now. So this is if you don't have WebEx already on your computer. So if you would like to know how to download it, we're going to hit download here. And you'll notice a little window pop up on the bottom left-hand corner, which essentially says click here to install WebEx. And you can go ahead and click on this little tab. And you'll see here that WebEx is essentially downloading into your laptop. So this is going to install the app into your laptop. Once you have WebEx installed into your computer, a similar screen like this will pop up in the middle of your screen. And so essentially here you'll notice the workshop titles. So in the case of the webinars that happen every week, you might see something that says Friday Nights with Dr. Kernew or something similar depending on what the workshop is on. Underneath, you'll have the right time indicated. So for the purposes of this video, it says 9:10 a.m. to 10:10 a.m. But for the webinars, if it was on Friday night, it would normally say 7 to 9 p.m. And I'll go over these three different icons here at the bottom. So note that we're not actually into the webinar right now. We're just in the preliminary stage where we're about to enter the meeting. So the first icon here is for your microphone. So you can choose whether you want to enter the meeting muted or unmuted. So when these icons are filled in red, that means their particular actions have been completed. So for example, if this is filled in red, that means currently you are muted. So to unmute yourself, it would need to be gray, and that way when you enter the meeting, you'll essentially be unmuted. Similar thing, the second icon here is for video. So if you wanted to turn your webcam on, you can essentially hit this button here and it will turn gray similar to the microphone one, in which case your webcam would be on and you would see your face here. And in this case, we'll just leave our video off where the icon would be red. Now, the third icon is how you enter the meeting. So yours might say join meeting instead of start meeting because you aren't the host of the meeting, and because I am in this case, it says start. But essentially, when you're joining the webinars, you would hit this green button here, which would probably say join meeting. So essentially, when you enter the meeting as a participant, this screen will pop up. And there's a variety of different icons and such here that we'll go over as well. So on the middle panel here, this middle screen is essentially where you will see the presentation. So if we are sharing any slides, you'll see the slideshow presented here. And normally when there are more participants entering, you will actually usually see the different squares of the participants at the top here, where if they have their webcam on, you'll be able to see their face and sort of watch them as they speak through the presentation. So this middle icon here will be usually where the slides are. In your participant side, so the left panel here, sorry, right panel here, you will essentially have a list of participants. So you can see all the other individuals that are joining in on the webinar, including the host, and that is essentially what the right panel is for. On the bottom here is essentially where you can sort of have a variety of different controls on how you choose to participate in the webinar itself. So you'll see some similar icons that we went over earlier. The first button here is for the microphone icon. So essentially, again, when it's filled in red, you are muted. And when it is filled in gray, you are unmuted. So if you are simply watching the webinar happen, we do ask that you keep yourself muted when someone else is talking, just so that we avoid having a lot of feedback in the session. But definitely, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns throughout the webinar, you can for sure hit unmute and add your input into the discussion, which is always greatly appreciated. Again, if you wanted to enter and participate in this webinar through video cam and have your webcam on and essentially show your face, you would hit this button here, which would go gray, similar to the microphone one, and that would start your video. Now, some of these other icons here, depending on whether you are the host or the participant, you may or may not see. But essentially, this would be the icon to share your content. So if you are ever hosting a WebEx meeting, it would be a similar procedure. You would download the WebEx app and you can actually share your screen and share your slides, which is how we usually run the webinars. And as a host, you can also record the meeting, which is how a lot of our webinars are recorded and posted on YouTube afterwards. And this tab here essentially determines whether or not you would like to see the list of participants. So hitting on that would remove the list if you wanted the middle screen to expand a bit more. And when it's blue, you would essentially see the participants on the right-hand panel. Now this button here is the chat feature, and this is a very useful feature in a lot of different video conferencing platforms, and you'll see it again in YouTube as well. But essentially hitting on this chat button opens up a chat box right underneath your participant panel. So you can enter in your chat message here. So whenever you have a question or you wanted to add in a comment and not necessarily speak, you can enter your message here in the chat. And you can choose who that message goes to as well. So if you wanted everyone to see that message, you'll notice it's automatically hit to everyone. But if I wanted to send it to a specific individual instead and not everybody in the meeting, you can also hit that specific individual's name. In this case, it's just myself, but you can hit the specific individual's name and that chat message will just go to them. So the chat feature is very, very useful. You can choose to close it or show it, but I would recommend to hit the chat feature as soon as you enter, just so that when others are asking questions or discussing something in the chat box, you'll see it pop up as they send in their messages here as well. Now, when the meeting is happening and eventually when the webinar ends, to leave the webinar, you would essentially hit this big red box here that says end or leave meeting. And so that is essentially the basics of WebEx. Again, you can host meetings if you would like, if you're looking to host for work or just to stay connected with your family and friends as well, or you can enter in as a participant as I've just shown